Well, counting down to pre-opening, Sanjiv Bhasin of IIFL is with us now. Sanjiv, good morning. Thoughts on Yes Bank? Yesterday was a spectacular move, but do you think it could continue, or do you want to now wait for the divergence report before making the next move?
Yeah, good morning. So Anuj, the problem of succession is over, and whether it's Ravneet Gill or Rajat Manga, at least you have a head now at the helm of the bank. That's a big positive. At least negatives are over. Yes, we will wait for the divergence, but I think most of that may be already in the price. Now, if you are looking for banking as a whole, then Yes Bank offers enormous value. Given that this cleansing process is over and you have now a succession plan, it will be back to business. But I would be more bullish on IDFC Bank first, where I have been repeatedly making a call from 36, 37 that the merger with Capital First and Vaidyanathan at the helm of an inefficient previous management will see a lot of gains. So I am extremely bullish on that bank. But Yes Bank itself may give you a 20% upside from 200 levels.
Okay. Actually, Sanjeev, there is a lot of competition now for private banks with so many new managers. I mean, I'm not saying anything new. You have a new guy in ICICI, even if old troubles linger. New man at Yes Bank, new man at Axis, at IDFC. What's your pecking order now?
So Lata, having known Mr. Vaidyanathan over the last many years, I can see he's a stellar banker who's been throughout. When he started Capital First from a one-time price to book, it went up to 4 times. And he's now at the helm of a very good process of merger of MSME stroke retail banking. I think he leads from the front. He's a pure banker from my assessment. The others will follow suit. So, we are seeing the re-rating of Axis Bank and ICICI just on the back that two of the, incumbents who have come in may prove to be good leaders. There will always be a debate on who's good and not, but I think that the pecking order remains. IDFC Bank first would be first, and then these corporate lenders, ICICI, Axis and State Bank. So let's not ignore State Bank. I think there's a huge positive given that from March quarter onward you should see more amount of write-backs. And, as a PSU bank, that can be a true outperformer.
Okay, Sanjeev, we'll come back to you. We have about 3 minutes left for the pre-opening rates to kick in. SP Tulsian of sptulsian.com also joins in. Mr. Tulsian, good morning. Today we'll see the listing of Spencer Retail. Of course, it's very small in comparison to peers like Future Retail, DMart, etc. But how should long-term investors approach this one?
See, Sonia, I think both the listings will really be very interesting. One of the Spencer Retail and second of the CAC Venture. And in fact, it is very interesting to see the price at which both will be listing, because the third awaited listing is of Arvind Retail. So I think one has to keep an eye on this CAC twins listing today. And we are, in fact, it's very difficult to take a call right now until there is no point in speculating, because both are going to see the good listing, today. So maybe allow the shares to get listed. Take a cool call, but we are keeping positive view on both over next 6 to 12 months. And you are right that in terms of the retail valuation, if you want to make a comparative valuation of the Spencer Retail, it may not be correct until we see the true valuation. So take a positive call only after keep a positive view on the stocks and take a view thereafter only seeing the listing price of both the companies, CAC Venture and Spencer Retail.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Tulsian. Well, a lot of events have happened on Yes Bank and on ICICI. But first, Yes Bank, what's your call after looking at the numbers in detail and the new man?
See, Lata, we have been in fact taking a positive call on the stock from 180, and this last 2-week consolidation from 180 to 190 has really given a very good listing. And if I go by the data point of yesterday, 3 crore shares have gone with the delivery. About 17 crore shares are in the open interest, of the January and February series. So I think the stock has come in the strong hands. And we yesterday afternoon show also, I've said that I'm expecting 245 around 245 for the stock in this series, and won't be surprised to see a price of 300 rupees also in the next about 4 to 6 months. See, people have been talking of this kitchen sinking and FY18 RBI report having not come, and FY17 what will be the status of this thing. But I think apart from I'm not so much worried for the kitchen sinking, but more on the FY18 RBI reports, which is awaited, and it's very interesting to see that what kind of divergence and what kind of report comes in, which will really decide the trend. But I don't think that these are seen to be the point of concern now for Yes Bank, because once the news MD and CEO CEO having come in, the things will start changing from here on, which we have seen since yesterday. In last 1 hour, we have seen the stock having moved up quite sharply. And in fact, the interesting point is that the cash closing rate will be seen at 215. But in future, and if you take January future, it is ruling at 226 and 227 for February series. So that's the realistic point has to be seen. And I think that from here on, the views are positive. And as I said, that expecting 245 in this series and maybe about 300 rupees in next 4 to 6 months.
Okay, sir. We have to come back to you with more questions also on Indigo, where there is a new gentleman, Ronojoy. So we'll have to see whether that also makes a difference to that company. Well, lots of new guys up there. But let's just wait for the markets to give us the first take. It looks like it's going to be a strong showing. Let's pull up the SGX Nifty. That gave us an indication of very close to the exact resistance zone. 10,930 is where 920 is where we could start. Okay, the first tick is a little in the red, but let's wait and see. It'll adjust. What do we want to first see? Well,
Bank.
Yeah, Yes Bank trades, as well as I guess other stocks like ICICI, whether there's any reaction. Even the ICICI news came during market hours, and therefore reacted to maybe Indigo, perhaps. With Ronojoy Datta in, is that also indicating any positivity? Interglobe is okay, marginally in the green. The rupees opened a tad stronger. Okay, dollar cost 7 paise less today. So actually, everything is looking very flat at this point in time.
Just a couple of more stocks. Linde India is down about 20%. On expected lines, the delisting has failed, so that stock is taking it on the chin completely. You have a Biocon, which reported very good numbers, so that stock is up almost 3% right now. And a couple of more stocks. L&T ahead of its numbers is up almost about 1.5%. So let's pose some of these questions. Sanjiv, hi, good morning. What are your thoughts on how to approach L&T? There are some concerns of a slowdown in the Q3 orders. But do you think, that's something that would not perturb you too much, considering that many of their big projects have been delayed and may come through in Q4?
Yeah, morning. So yes, Sonia, you put it, you've termed it correctly. I think there may be 1 quarter problem, but look at the next 3-4 quarters and the next 2-3 years. Once you get the instability over of a new government, you will see a huge amount of capex spending which is pending. And I'm not so bearish on global growth. I think their Middle East businesses are starting to show a lot of traction. Locally, the hydrocarbon business is again up and running. And, if they announced a buyback, it shows confidence that the stock may be undervalued in the eyes of the company. I am very bullish, and L&T would be my top pick. So, secondly, here the management of Cummins, Siemens, they are extremely bullish on the capex going forward, whether it is power, hydrocarbon, or the infrastructure. So L&T on any decline or even now would be a perfect portfolio pick.
Okay. Thanks for that. Mr. Tulsian, there are a bunch of other numbers I wanted to ask you. There was Biocon's numbers and, of course, very strong numbers. There was Pfizer's numbers. You want to comment on any of them?
See, Lata, I think we have, first if I touch on Biocon, I think excellent numbers, and if you see there all three segments, small molecules, biologics and research, all three have really shown very good numbers, and more especially the biologics, the kind of growth which we have seen, and in fact in all the geography, whether you talk of their API in the Middle East, or maybe the launching of the biosimilar in EU and US markets, all are seem to be doing quite well. Now coming on some other good results, I think we have seen good numbers from Pfizer also. Bharat Bijli has shown good numbers. Ion Exchange has shown good numbers. Maybe Hudson Agro has shown good numbers. Jindal Saw is also seen to have posted good numbers. G Media have posted good numbers. The only disappointment I think has been seen from the Syntex Industries and R Power. So you can say that by and large, whatever numbers we have seen after the market having closed, we have seen more as the positives, in the small and mid cap segments rather than negatives. So I am overall enthused by 6-7 names, which I have just mentioned, having posted good numbers.
Okay, technically, Yes Bank is up 6%, but it's yesterday's closing was around 225, 226. 215 was the adjusted closing. So that way, it's 230. The 6.7% perhaps might not be too meaningful, but of course we'll see how that one pans out. There are a couple of other stocks which are looking quite interesting. Bajaj Auto and Hero MotoCorp both down about 1.5%. Mr. Tulsian, good morning. The market's going into Hero Moto's earnings quite weak. Your thoughts on this stock?
I think Anuj, Hero Moto has lost its momentum and rhythm, and maybe on the sales front, and that will seem the translating into the flattish Q3 numbers also. If you want to take a long-term view, maybe with a 1 year view, that the things are going to definitely we see the revival in the two-wheeler. But I think we are more positive on Bajaj Auto going forward, because the way they have been capturing, they have been increasing their market share, and plans of the EV also, launch of EV also in the two-wheeler segments, those are seen to be positive. So maybe at the current level, rather our preference would be more on Bajaj Auto rather than Hero Moto at this stage.
Well, for now, Z-Media is the one that's really spiking up. Of course, it's a 26 rupee stock, so the base is pretty low, but very good numbers, yeah. Net profits almost doubled to 27 crores. Revenues up almost 23%. Mr. Tulsian was talking about that. And the other stock to look at is Pfizer. So that one too reported good numbers, very good improvement in margins to 30% plus. I think Pfizer is trading in the green, up 2.5%. Sanjiv, we were talking about L&T, but in that space, you've liked NBCC for a very long time. Does it still portend a buy?
Yes, univocal, yes, because Sonia, let's not look at the next 3 months or the next, 2 quarters. That is where the whole gamut lies. But look at the next 5 years. You are seeing that redevelopment of land, new projects, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Most of the railways land which will be encashed or monetized, all that goes into NBCC. They've got an order book which is chock-a-block for the next 5 years. It's just the execution and some of this hiatus on High Court orders. Yesterday itself the court has ordered that the Kidwai Nagar will be given the go-ahead for monetizing or, commercializing, or at least the commercial space in the next 2 weeks. Extremely bullish for the next 5 years. If you are looking, this is a 5-bagger from here. And it is not tantamount to anything to do with Donald Trump tweets or the local imbroglio on politics. I think this is a steadfast stock which can give huge returns for the sector and for the investor over the next 5 years.
Okay. Mr. Tulsian, I wanted to ask this of you yesterday, but I didn't have a chance. Tirumalai Chemicals numbers were not much to write home about. We actually spoke with Mr. Parthasarathy on the channel, and he said that prices have actually started improving. I mean, the wake of Tirumalai Chemicals falling 20%, we also saw a shaving off of the 2 graphite stocks. May not be for related reasons, but all of them were, advantaged by the China effect. Now, what's your view on all these 3 stocks?
See, Lata, first if I come on Tirumalai Chemical, at least the bottom line have been seen in the black, because the company seem to be on a sound footing, and if you go by the phthalic anhydride and maleic anhydride market, because they are directly linked to the crude price, because you cannot compare this with the dye intermediates or maybe the specialty chemicals and the bulk chemicals. So I think that was one-off, and in fact management have categorically, in fact they have released a press release also to the exchanges, and they came on our channel also where they have clarified that things are returning back. They have not confirmed on the margin expansion or maybe the margin returning back, but at least the volume is seen returning back. So I think that Tirumalai Chemical having corrected to about maybe 80-81 gives a good opportunity if you have the view of about maybe 6 months, because Q4 numbers are definitely going to be seen much better than Q3, and maybe one can keep a cautious view on IG Petro, because they are also into the maleic anhydride and phthalic anhydride. So this is just a statement on that account. Coming specifically on the graphite electrodes and two space, HEG and Graphite India. In fact, there have been contradictory report, and if you really see the needle coke price, have risen quite a lot, which is used as which is a critical raw material for making graphite electrodes. And there has been the report that Chinese company, because of the increase of this needle coke, they've raised the prices. But maybe Q3 numbers will be seen a bit softer than Q2. But I don't think that situation is seen to be as precarious, because there has been little confusion. The graphite electrode contracts have now been signed between $12,000 to $14,000. So it's not really very clear, and people have been taking a sequential call that Q3 may be seen softer than Q2. So one has to really wait for Q3, and even if Q3 is softer than Q2, I think the valuations of both the companies are seen to be quite low, ruling at a P multiple of sub 5. And even if you take the commodity stock as into point, and the use of the graphite electrodes, the way it is used, widely used in the electric arc furnace, even in China and US both, at least we are keeping positive view on HEG and graphite from the current level. After having corrected, we won't be surprised to see that, because HEG has announced their result date on 12th February. So need to see the Q3 numbers and the management commentary that what is the contract renewal rate for what duration and at what rate they have all been done. So I won't be negative on all 3 from the current rates.
All right, Mr. Tulsian, thanks a lot for joining us this morning. We'll talk to you